I swear before the people of Burkina Faso and on my honor to preserve, respect, uphold and defend the Constitution, the Transition Charter and the laws, to make every effort to guarantee justice for all the inhabitants of Burkina Faso.
Since the crisis our country has been experiencing, the units of the National Brigade of Firefighters have contributed in various parts of the territory to the return of peace and the recapture of certain localities. The resources available to the National Brigade of Firefighters are the same as those available to the National Armed Forces in general. And so all our personnel deployed in the field, whether they are in fully constituted brigade units or within other combat unit structures, receive support and assistance from the service providers of the National Armed Forces. It must be clearly acknowledged that there has been a leap, a significant leap in terms of capability. Capability in terms of intervention on the one hand, but also in terms of human resources. There has been a significant increase in personnel within the brigade, both to be able to respond to the operational defense of the territory as part of the reconquest of the national territory, and also to fulfill our public service duties in terms of emergency response and firefighting. Since 2023-2024, we have benefited from the creation of specialized units and units within the brigade. We have also benefited from the opening and operationalization of fire and rescue companies in cities, especially in the administrative regional capitals that did not previously have a fire station. These are major efforts that have been made precisely to bring emergency services closer to the population. This is, in turn, an adaptation of the system. This adaptation of the system in terms of coverage has led to the creation of fire brigades as well as fire and rescue companies. The authorities have worked to ensure a network that allows firefighters to be available to intervene for the benefit of the population.
Resources acquired thanks to the various contributions of Burkinabe citizens who are also determined to wage the war. In 2 years, more than $1 billion, or over 600 billion CFA francs, have been raised for the acquisition of military equipment according to the Ministry of Economy and Finance.
The National Armed Forces have never been so well equipped since their creation, as they have been in these past 2 years. We now have high-performance, state-of-the-art equipment. For example, I would mention the strategic drones we have, the combat and transport helicopters that we have been able to acquire as part of these reforms, the armored vehicles for logistical transport, the armored personnel carriers, the battle tanks, the combat vehicles for military engineering, as well as the construction equipment that the Military Engineering Corps has just received. All of this will contribute to much greater mobility for our national armed forces, much greater operational capability, and much more boldness. Because when our troops are well equipped, it's important to understand that it also boosts their morale and makes them much more daring in carrying out offensive action.
In addition to acquiring equipment for the army, the head of state has launched a vast program to reorganize the national armed forces. The territory needs to be covered in order to ensure greater responsiveness and effectiveness on the ground. The first challenge of this reorganization is to strengthen the various army units with more human resources. An unprecedented recruitment drive has therefore been launched for the benefit of all branches of the army.
Our countries were on life support. The structural adjustment program, when you look at it, recruitment was really at a minimum. When we say that the entire army recruited 1,000 people in a year, it was often complicated, and sometimes it dropped to 500, not even counting those who retired. Within the different branches of the armed forces, there's also been a considerable increase in recruitment. If in a single year we managed to recruit 10,000 soldiers, that's something to be commended. We have taken on challenges that we are currently undertaking to try to better train this personnel, to better supervise them so they can handle anything that arises for us, whether in terms of operations or actions to be carried out in the field.
Strengthening human resources and improving equipment are extremely important factors. This is what we call the morale of the soldier. These pieces of equipment and reinforcements in personnel have boosted our men. And thanks to that, we have been able to embark on reclaiming our territory. We have succeeded in liberating certain areas of our country. We have enabled the return of many people who had been displaced, who have now gone back to their places of origin, and who have even managed this year to produce and farm. We have managed to reopen more than 1,000 schools that have been closed. So all these victories and all these reconquests are thanks to the effort made by the Burkinabe people, who agreed to invest and contribute to the war effort so that all this equipment and all these VDP recruitments could take place.
The massive commitment of the Burkina people, with more than 90,000 joining the ranks of the volunteers for the defense of the homeland alongside the defense and security forces, is part of the vision of an army determined to make the volunteers reliable allies in the defense of the nation. And the VDPs are bravely fighting alongside their brothers in arms.
The living and support conditions of the VDPs have seen some improvements since January 2024. Under the enlightened leadership of His Excellency, the VDP's operational bonuses have increased from 60,000 to 80,000 francs. And although this is still not enough, it allows the VDPs to continue fighting on the ground and also boosts their morale. No VDP goes to the theater of operations without their weapon and the proper equipment they need to effectively carry out the fight against terrorism.
Another important decision made by Captain Ibrahim Traore is the revival of the National Commando Training Center, SENEC, located in Pau in the province of Nauri. This center is responsible for training military and paramilitary personnel in commando techniques.
The National Center is truly a step we want everyone to go through. And this center also has the advantage of including internal security forces such as prison security guards, forestry officers and customs officers. They can go through this center to acquire commando skills and knowledge. This is also to enable interoperability between the personnel and the resources we have. By going through this center, you will have access to a certain amount of equipment, and when you participate in joint exercises with the national armies, this is a stronghold of internal security. The exercises go very smoothly and we complement each other.
In line with the inclusive vision of bringing together all forces to build a strong and robust defense for our country, special units have also been established within the prison security guard and the water and forestry services. These various units contribute to the reclaiming of territory alongside the other fighting forces. Following the call from the head of state, President of FASO, Captain Ibrahim Traore, for all defense and security forces to become actively involved in the fight against terrorism and the full recovery of the territory, the prison administration responded to this call by creating combat prison units, and positive actions have been undertaken. This includes preparing the combat prison unit members for operational readiness at Ensoa and at the Commando Training Center for special operations in Pau. Specific equipment has been provided with the support of the General Staff of the Armed Forces. Following this, an entire area was assigned to the combat prison units for its security. And good initiatives are underway to consolidate these areas by our units. In addition to these actions, the prison administration is playing its part alongside the defense and security forces and the volunteers for the defense of the homeland in the theater of operations in other areas. We have also been able to maintain all our usual positions throughout the territory. It must be acknowledged today that the involvement of the internal security forces alongside the defense and security forces has created a cohesion that has never existed before. There are no longer any barriers today between the general staffs of the other forces and the general directorates of the internal security forces. The atmosphere is excellent, and communication, the exchange of ideas, sharing, and in any case, joint actions on the ground are all taking place. All of this is thanks to the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traore, head of state, president of FASO. Since the advent of His Excellency, the president of FASO, Captain Ibrahim Traore, at the head of our country, tremendous efforts have been made for the benefit of the defense and security forces, and in particular, I would say, for the benefit of the paramilitary corps of water and forests. In terms of personnel, we have benefited from His Excellency's authorization to implement a recruitment plan. And this recruitment plan aimed to recruit 4,000 forest agents over 2 years. And today, we are pleased to see that we have already carried out 2 rounds of recruitment. A first recruitment of 1,950 water and forest assistants, a second recruitment of 975 water and forest assistants, and we have 300 water and forest assistants from among the volunteers for the defense of the homeland who are currently undergoing their incorporation medical examination with the Army. For capacity building, the head of state has instructed the operational readiness of all combat personnel. He has also instructed that all forest agents who are recruited and will be technically trained at the National School of Water and Forests must undergo toughening training at the Commando Training Center in Pau. This is to enable them to be sufficiently toughened, sufficiently prepared to effectively contribute to the fight against terrorism and to the clearing of our country's forests. We can note that it is truly now that we feel we are genuinely part of the defense and security forces, because we have received weapons, we have received individual weapons, we have received collective weapons, which is a first since we never had any before. But with the advent of this transition, we have been able to obtain these different weapons.
In order to be able to contribute effectively to the fight against terrorism, when you see our personnel today, they are proud to be recognized on the one hand, they are proud to be like the others on the other hand, and they are proud to contribute on the ground in a truly committed way to the recovery of the national territory.
Created within the armed forces, the BIR are designed to intervene as quickly as possible and at the forefront, prioritizing mobility and firepower in response to any threat against territorial integrity. The results achieved on the ground justify the vision of the head of state.
We are equipped, we are truly well equipped, and this allows us to be present on the ground quickly and to go directly to the objective. We work in concert with the other defense and security forces, which adds yet another dimension to this. All these efforts made by His Excellency, the President of FASO, are aimed at enabling the National Army to be truly autonomous, to be truly mobile on the ground, and to contribute to the complete reconquest of this country.
The creation of the Paratrooper Commando Group of the Republican Guard, the Special Brigade, and the Rapid Intervention Unit reflects the head of state's determination to build a strong army in the service of the nation. The creation of the Mobile Intervention Units Groups, GOMI, of the National Police and the revitalization of the Rapid Action Surveillance and Intervention Group, GASI, of the National Gendarmerie are also part of the President of FASO's vision for defense and security forces committed to securing and defending the national territory. Today, thanks to the determination of the President of FASO and the support of the people, the army is transforming itself to better defend the nation.
As a veteran, compared to what I saw before and what I see today, a great step forward has been made. Everything is being done so that in a short time, the National Armed Forces and the Internal Security Forces will be at their best.
I have 34 years of service. When I look back, I can say that we have come a very long way. With the resources provided by the people and the state, We are in the process of rebuilding ourselves. We are gaining strength. The Burkina Republic has a bright future, a future with a history that will be crowned with prestige and glory.
Over these past 2 years, under the leadership of the President of FASO, His Excellency Captain Ibrahim Traore, we have all witnessed a profound transformation of the National Armed Forces, marked by a strengthening of our capability and increase in personnel, an increase in logistical resources, in weaponry, as well as a restructuring and redeployment of units that now cover the national territory more effectively. And the other aspect is, above all the air dimension, today the National Armed Forces are equipped with combat aircraft. They are equipped with aerial vehicles that make it possible not only to gather intelligence on the ground, but also to carry out observation missions and missions to guide ground troops, thereby increasing the effectiveness of combat.
Today, more than ever, beyond the victories it is achieving over armed terrorist groups, the Burkina Army, through its transformation, is instilling a sense of pride among Burkinabe citizens. In 2 years, the Burkinabe Army has made great strides both in its organization and in its operational capabilities. The strength and sovereignty of a nation are also tied to the power of its army. Captain Ibrahim Traore has made it his mission to continuously strengthen the operational capabilities of the National Armed Forces.
Today, the army is much better equipped than it has ever been. But we see that this is nothing. The equipment will come 10 times, many times more advanced than what we have now. We will continue to recruit in order to have a strong army, because independence, sovereignty, as long as you don't have a strong army, you cannot stand on your own.